I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at villageXchange@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. Charles shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Okay, dear listener. This is a song. It's got a pretty interesting title. The name of the song is Jiil Tracy-Room 19.
For the big homie, Mr. Savage.
Shout out to the big homie, Mr. Savage. I just got done watching a French movie yesterday, or this morning, whatever you want to call it. We were thinking about doing a movie review about it, then we decided against it. And that's probably for the best.
It was so heavy. You know, honestly, I didn't realize the movie was just like so captivating. I didn't even realize that I had to read the entire thing, because you know how I feel about reading movies.
Yeah,
I
know.
hate that.
You're like, oh, we're gonna have to read this with subtitles. I was like, yeah, but it was very well written. But holy shit. Okay, dear listener, here we go. Jiil Tracy, Room 19.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
There's stains on the walls that won't come clean.
Spooky.
Mementos of his final scene. The plaster is peeling skin that's gone grey. The door stays locked to keep time away. musty sound. Only the whispering curtains and the floorboards tell. No more sorrow in this ill-fated life. His voyage will set sail tonight. And outside they were singing the lights of Christmas Eve. But he's lost in the darkness, 'cause dreams are never what they seem. Locked in room 19. Locked in room 19. And he's still waiting for his ship to come in. And he's still longing for what could have been. He's still waiting, locked in room 19. He's still waiting, locked in room 19. He's still waiting. He's still waiting.
Wow. Doesn't.
That was rather spooky.
Oh, it really was. Does this song remind you of that friend of ours that always posts pictures that look like this?
100%.
Yeah, right?
That's a song she could sing.
Yeah. Well, I don't
She
know. I
would-
never heard her sing. I just heard you say she's the most unbelievable singer you'd ever heard
She was
locally.
best local singer. Really, really good.
Till you heard me, right?
No. No. She's
I know.
got more vocal range.
I know.
But as far as like metal, no, obviously not. She doesn't have that gift.
What do you think the song's about?
It seems to me, it reminded me one of those stories I used to listen to when I was a kid. Or read when I was a kid, actually. Not listen to. But it'd be these ghost stories, but they were not... Like, there was one ghost story where the guy... He was always talking about this great view. He's like, oh, I love this view, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, yeah.
And he kept
yeah, I remember this story, actually.
Do you? He
was in a hospital, right?
Yeah, he's in a hospital.
Yeah.
He kept saying he loved the view and all this jazz. And then, so
he
the
was
guy...
explaining it. He's like, oh, the beautiful trees.
Yeah, beautiful trees, yada, yada, yada. So then, basically, the guy that he was like his roommate was like on the other side, and it's like, well, let me have it. And the guy goes, no, you know, whatever. And long story short, he did something horrible to the guy, basically.
The guy was choking because they were in a hospital.
Yeah.
He was choking to death, and the guy didn't say anything.
He didn't
he
say
was
anything.
like, "Yo, if he dies, I'll get his spot."
Right. So that's what happened. He let the guy die, basically, because he wanted
the view,
the room with a view or whatever. And then he asked the nurse, "Can you please, pull out the curtain so
put me over there?" So
yeah, he said, "Put me over there and pull the curtain so I can have the view." And the nurse looks at him all weird, and she goes, "Okay." So then she pulls the thing open, and it's just a brick wall.
That's it.
And
nothing there.
For some strange reason, that was really terrifying to me. I was like, "Holy shit, that's..."
Well, why was it terrifying to you?
To this moment, I don't know why. I don't know why it was terrifying to me.
To me, it was terrifying that somebody could be that evil. Like, one person was trying to create, like, a positive environment and talk. Although, I thought that was, like... You could see how the other person could make it look like you were just, like, made this giant story of bragging about what a great view you were seeing. But the other guy was stuck to his bed, too. So, I mean, I don't know. To me, it was terrifying that somebody would just allow somebody to die over a view. Even if that guy did have an amazing view of the park and he could see all these people, you'd let him die so you could have that?
Well, the things people consider currency, I mean, the things that we let everybody die for is really stupid when you think about it. It's really a brick wall when you think about it. But
yes. But nobody's like directly, well, not nobody, but like I've never known anybody that was like directly related, just like sat there and just watched somebody just pair. Well, who the hell knows? Maybe I do know people. Who really knows?
Yeah. But yeah, there are some kinds of ghost stories that are like meant to terrify you. Mm-hmm. But then there are other ghost stories that are really, they're not really terrifying. They're kind of eerie. They're kind of like, but they're not like, oh my God, I can't sleep at night.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like the whole thing about the specter that's got unfinished business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's floating around, but he's got unfinished business, and he's got to kind of stay there until his business is taken care of. That kind of ghost story that doesn't really go anywhere. It's just like old man so and so, and he's in these woods because he was looking for his watch, and he got caught in the ice storm, and he died.
Yeah.
And
or the bride ones. Those were always creepy to me.
Bride ones.
Yeah, like there was this woman, she was going to get married. It was the day of her wedding. She was dressed in her dress, her gown, and I think like she found out that her husband, well, her soon to be husband, like cheated on her. So she leaves the church and she goes walking down the road. She's trying to figure out if she should go through with the, whatever. She gets hit and she gets killed on that road. And now every time, it's that time of year when people go driving down that road, they'll see a woman in a tattered dress.
Yeah.
Those are creepy to me.
Yeah.
Those are a little weird.
Yeah. But it's not like horrifying. It's like sad /
unnerving a little.
Creepy. Mm-hmm. People getting caught between dimensions or whatever. Mm-hmm. And,
I think the reason those are creepy is because I've sat face to face with people that explained their experiences that matched that were in that category, as well as I've seen stuff myself.
They've seen
stuff. Yeah. I know.
I don't know if I've ran into anyone who hasn't had some sort of paranormal.
Yeah, most people have. Most people have.
Yeah, there's a documentary on Netflix called Sir No Face, and it's the first, governmentally sanctioned poltergeist, whatever, that's visible on camera. And you can see it. It's a full humanoid shape on camera, but you can like literally, it's there for like it leans over and then it's gone. And it's there. And I guess the government of Australia confirmed it or whatever, which I don't know how a government can confirm such a thing, but I mean, it was on camera.
I mean, I'm sure that's what it is. They can't they tell if videos have been doctored?
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah. So, there are stains on walls that won't come clean. Mementos of his final scene. The plaster is peeling skin that's gone gray. The door stays locked to keep time away. See,
that to me sounds
that's
like...
brilliant writing.
Yeah.
What? Seems like what?
To me, that sounds like somebody killed themselves in there.
Well, yeah, it sounds like he blew himself away
Yeah.
and stains on walls that won't come clean.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mementos of his final scene.
And then the plaster peel. That's just...
That's
yeah.
brilliant. That's what I'm saying. It's brilliant writing. You know, where it says a plaster's peeling skin that's gone gray. It's just smart writing.
Wait, why?
Because
I can't separate from like the visual and the...
Because she's making a correlation between the physical room and the guy's body, which I'm assuming is where the guy's ghost is going to stay for, you know, all eternity.
Wait, say that again, because I just had a memory that came into my head that was weird. Okay, go ahead. What did you say about that?
She's making a correlation between the physical room and the guy's body.
Oh.
See what I'm saying? So,
Oh.
stains on the walls that won't come clean, mementos of his final scene, which we can surmise that he did something to himself, which resulted in what? Blood spatter. And then the plaster is peeling skin that's gone gray. So the plaster of the wall or whatever, you know how plaster peels or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's peeling skin. So it's you know, bodifying in the...
Oh, I thought it was because
room.
he had killed himself. That the stains are on the walls. I don't want to get too graphic, but there must have been... I mean, maybe the bullet hit the wall as well, in which case it would have created a hole that would eventually peel. And I just thought that there might be...
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I think she's talking about the room itself because the door stays locked to keep time away.
Yeah.
Is the next line. But yeah.
The abandoned, spoiled love and despair.
Gideon's Bible in an old black chair.
You know, Gideon, whoever, I mean, I'm assuming it was Gideon that got that whole movement started with the Gideon's Bibles in all the hotels. You know,
Yeah.
I think that whenever we used to go to hotels, we would always check when we were kids, like, is there a Bible? And there would always be a Bible. Now you go and there's not always a Bible, and I find that to be sad because I've heard so many people say, I was in a hotel, I was going to end my life, and
100%.
I thought, you know what? What the hell? Let me just
100%.
read this Bible.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how many times have people gone for those Bibles and they're not there?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's sad to me.
I agree.
Of course, people have, they've rolled a lot of weed in them too, I've heard. The papers I heard, they were really good for that.
The abandoned spoil of love and despair. I was just reading something else where a kid, this rapper, he had a record deal, and it was a YouTube reactor, and the YouTube reactor would look at videos that had 0 views. So he reviewed this kid's video, and the kid became literally an overnight sensation. What? The next day the kid woke up, he had all these record labels calling him, and they flew him out to Los Angeles, signed a record deal. He became a millionaire like in 3 days. He was on his block like a couple days before, just doing gang. He was a crip. He was on gang shit. I mean,
That's
his kid,
crazy.
his brother had
0
got
views.
his brother had gotten killed. He got in a shootout with the guys that did it, obviously, and he got his revenge or whatever. But he got hit in the hand, and he went to the hood nurse who dunked the bullet out of his hand. I mean, hard life. Shoots a random YouTube video with 0 views. I mean, nobody knew who the kid was, but this YouTube reactor, his thing was he was gonna listen to songs that had
0.
no views, and it blew the kid up. He went. He
I wonder how he found it. Like that's kind of random in and of itself.
Yeah, I don't know how
It's
he.
not like
how
you can
he-
do a search
how he
for
finds
0
those
view videos.
I'm pretty sure. I think our channel's actually bigger than that guy's channel, and last year his girlfriend broke up with him. He killed himself.
No.
It's just like. The abandoned spoil of love and despair. And of course, mental illness is, a hell of a thing. And, there was the COVID situation and things like
terrible.
that, which I've constantly been saying, people being in isolated circumstances, it's not good, because everything gets amplified, and the other thing that happened with him too was that he was on a set of a video, and he ended up killing his friend.
What?
They thought the gun, was.
Oh, come on!
Yeah. So he ended up killing her.
Why have a loaded gun in the situation?
Apparently, the kid was his best friend.
Oh my god!
And his friend also had just signed a record deal and all.
Oh, that's awful.
It's just horrible. So then his girlfriend broke up with him. That was the end of it. He was done.
You know what probably happened? He probably was so friggin' depressed from killing his friend that he was no more fun to be around anymore, and she didn't want to handle it anymore. So she was like, I'm out. I'm not spending the rest of my life like this.
Yeah,
and
I mean, by the time,
God, that's awful.
all those kids are traumatized, seeing all that shit. Awful. I wasn't running around doing a bunch of drive-bys, and I still see shit from back in the day. So,
oh God.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So, the abandoned spoil of love and despair. Gideon's Bible in an old black chair. And an object he thought could steer him from harm, but it was written in the stars.
That's the weapon, right?
The weapon could steer him from harm?
Yeah, like he probably had a gun that would keep him away from harm. Like if somebody, he'd go after them with that.
Yeah.
But it was written in the stars that his life would end that way.
His fate was sealed.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Well,
I feel like that. I don't like that because there's times where you can feel like I think that it's just like some evil darkness or whatever, but you can feel like I remember being a teenager, probably I was suffering from so much undiagnosed depression or whatever. I thought for sure I was going to be dead before I was 17 or 19. I didn't think I was going to make it past then. If I did, I had ideas of what I would have wanted to.
What did you think was going to kill you?
I thought it was going to be something really tragic, like a car accident or like somebody shot me or just something like it would be something random, not like I was in the middle of something, but just a drunk driver but the thing is I was driving so crazily at that point. I think that I was looking for it. Now that I'm at this age looking back, but I thought for sure I was going to be, but my mother used to say the same thing. She thought something was going to happen to her when she was young. And obviously it didn't. I mean, she's in her 60s now or 50s. So,
need to correct that real quick. yeah. I mean, I did too, but obviously for different circumstances. Just where we were growing up didn't comport to a very long lifespan at the time. Yeah, I was just reading something. I don't think it's true. Somebody said there's a kid a week that gets into his dad's gun casing.
Oh, I'm sure that's true.
I'm not sure. And killed. I don't think it's a kid a week.
And does what?
And
ends his own life.
Kills himself, kills a brother. Not on purpose. They're talking about like a 5-year-old, Orion type.
Yep.
Yep. I'm like that seems to be a little bit steep. I feel like we'd be hearing a lot more about that, especially in the gun conversations. With gun control. There's
no place to get those numbers.
That's 52. Oh well, I mean, then how the hell does he know? If there's no place to get it, how does he know?
I just asked if there was a place. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, there would be.
You usually research stuff, so
that's what I'm saying. I couldn't find anything. that validated that, so I find that very hard to believe. But my point is that's the ultimate irony to me about gun ownership.
I know.
Is when, people who have a gun and they think it's going to protect them, and then the ultimate irony is that that's the thing that ends up, dispatching you into the next world.
You or your child.
Yeah, which is obviously unbearable at that point. Like we talk, that's a horrible, I can't even think about that.
I just, yeah. Mm-mm.
The things that we're used to in America, other countries are not used to. The horror of a child killing himself or killing his parents on accident for no reason. We've got that in our heads. Yeah, that could happen. In other countries, that's unthinkable.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're not, they're not flooded with, firearms or whatever. But it is.
Yeah, the other thing too is you might not have it at your house, but your kid could go over to their friend's house who they're gun lovers, and then point. Something happens.
It's a good point. Yeah, that's the other side of the whole But on this one, she's talking about how the guy's fate was basically sealed. It was written in the stars. You see what I'm saying? It says,
yeah, but then you wonder, the self-fulfilling prophecy, maybe he felt like it was written in the stars, and so then when he came down to it, he was like, well, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Right, but if she to me, she's speaking as the narrator.
Yeah, geez, what the hell? That was weird.
That's terrifying to you, huh?
It would startled me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
She's speaking as a narrator, so she's saying it was written in the stars. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, no, that was supposed to happen to that guy. Like, it was supposed to go down. And of course, like...
because she's speaking after it. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and when it comes to fate or God's decree, however people want to call it, whatever you want to talk about it as, you can only know that after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna deny that, okay, maybe, you know, God has some plan or whatever that we can't understand. I'm not gonna deny that. But it's not for us to speculate while it's happening.
Right.
So,
yeah.
like, if you're in real time and you say, that's my fate, like, that's bullshit. Fate can only be known after the event has happened.
Right.
So
right.
whatever you say before is completely speculative. You know what I'm saying? Which that's a very, very thin line to toe. And obviously, like I always say, as a Christian, you have a a very convenient sort of template to operate from.
Yep.
And every time I think about speculating on fate, I always hear Deuteronomy 29:29, where it says, "The secret things belong to the Lord, but the things revealed belong to us and our children, so that we might obey all the words of the law." Which basically means, don't worry about your fate. Don't worry about what the stars have to say about your life. Just worry about doing the next right thing, and then let the chips fall where they may. And that's kind of how I live my life. And then afterwards, I'm like, well, that's the way it was supposed to go. That slant blitz was supposed to be called, and Cooper Kupp gets the catch. It is what it is, Todd Bowles. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way it's supposed to go. But yeah, it's an interesting. It's a sad song though, because the secrets are buried in this musty cell. Only the whispering curtains and the floorboards tell. No more sorrow in this ill-fated life. His voyage will set sail tonight. So he basically gets set free in room 19. And, obviously I've got a family member where it's one of those situations, man. She pretty much went out in that type of situation. And, I commend her soul to the Lord's goodness, and inshallah we'll see her again. But it's tough when people are and they were talking about Christmas or Christmas Eve or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was around a certain holiday with this person as well. But it's tough where people have they get in those pits of despair and loneliness, and they just get to the point where they feel like nobody can. People can't reach out to people for help, or this particular person in my family or ex-family or whatever, she didn't want to. She knew she could have reached out to us, but she didn't want to. Because in her mind, life shouldn't be that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, she should have had other whatever. I agree with her. It shouldn't have been, but sometimes you got to accept. That's the thing about that. That's a trick. I used to tell this for people who work with me all the time. There's the way that things should be and the way things are, and the people that do the best are the people that can live in the middle. And so sometimes you got to write out, okay, it shouldn't be like this.
Well, like here, dreams are never what they seem.
Yeah.
Kind of goes with that.
Yeah, like sometimes you have to write out, okay, it shouldn't be like this. And then, by God's grace, you can construct a world where it's closer and closer to the ideal. But sometimes people are just like, they feel like if they don't have the ideal, then they're out. So,
yeah. Yep.
Not a wise decision, dear listener. What did you get the song?
Well, I thought that it was okay. I thought that it was a sort of unique song. Unique, like the woman that was in the picture in the middle of the screen when it was playing, kind of like that. Like, it had that sort of feel to it.
Yeah.
At the same time, it had a sort of not changing sound to it, because the vocal style was just the same each time, but then it fit, I thought, the way the song was, because there's this sort of slow and steady trudging forward of life that happens, like, and, you know, for me, whenever something happens to somebody that I'm close to, that I always feel sort of offended by that sort of slow, steady trudging forward, that everybody just keeps moving forward, even though you may have just experienced this massive loss. You know, people, it sounds weird, but the thought of people eating sandwiches when someone is completely heartbroken is just, I don't know, it's so offensive to me. But people need to eat and people need to go on with life. Like, everybody can't just stop because something bad happened in your life. But when you're the one that experiences that tragedy, it's like, well, the world should stop. Something happened to this very important person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that the song, you know, I think that it was well done. So I'm going to go with and it's something, honestly, that if the topic wasn't that death like that, then the type of song intrigues me. I would listen to it again. I'm just not a fan of the topic, so I wouldn't listen to it again because of the topic. But so 9.2.
The 7.9 for me.
Oh, wow.
I told you I'm going to be a lot more stringent on my ratings.
I've always been stringent. Except for one song I gave a 3 and I should have given a 0 to.
Which one was that? We'll talk about it offline. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.